If you want to record multiple in-person guests, plus have redundant recordings when you use Riverside, or you want to play audio from your web browser or other applications into your Riverside recording, there's two powerful apps that can really supercharge all of your online recordings. Plus, I'll show you how to use the media library in your Riverside studio so you can upload audio and video files and play them during a live recording inside your Riverside studio. If you're interested in using AudioHiJack or Loopback, the two applications we're talking about, visit macaudio.com. That's macaudio.com. That link will be in the show notes. AudioHiJack is a paid application at $64, and it is Mac only. And Loopback is also Mac only for $100. Let's first jump into AudioHiJack so I can show you how to do hybrid in-person and remote recordings and redundant recordings even when you use Riverside. Here I've opened AudioHiJack and you see a window with lots of templates. You see they even have templates for podcast in studio and podcast remote. But let's open a new blank session. Here in the sidebar of AudioHiJack, there are many building blocks for adding recording input devices, output devices, and even recording from specific apps. Let's say we want to record multiple physical inputs here in the studio in addition to recording a remote guest that's coming in through Riverside. Here I can choose input device and I'm going to click and drag that into my AudioHiJack window. Click on the block and then choose your physical audio device. For me, it's a MixPre 3. Then if I expand the advanced window, you'll see I can choose what input to use as my left and right channel on this recording. I'm going to use channel 1 for both left and right, and now my input device block is ready. You can even choose to apply inline effects like an EQ or a volume booster, but we always recommend recording a clean version of the audio without any effects applied. You can always add those later. If you want to monitor the audio levels of this input, you can actually click and drag a peak RMS meters into the window, and you'll see these two blocks are connected with these arrows. That means this input audio device will be shown in these volume levels. Then finally, I'll scroll up to the top and choose Recorder. If I click and drag a recorder block, now I can choose what kind of audio file I want to save and where I'd like to save it. You can type in a custom file name. You can choose the folder where you'd like to save it. Maybe that's your downloads folder. And you can choose the audio format to record in. MP3 is a compressed audio format, so if you'd like full uncompressed audio quality, you want to choose a WAV file. To do that, go down to Custom, and then for Format, we're going to choose WAV. Choosing 24-bit, it'll give a really high quality. And for sample rate, choose 48 kilohertz if this audio will be synced to a video file later, or if you're just doing audio, 44.1 kilohertz is what you want to go with. I'm actually going to be using video in addition to audio, so I'm going to choose 48 kilohertz. This is stereo, and choose no dithering. Now if you have multiple microphones going into an audio device, you can set up additional chains for each channel. I'm going to drag another input device here in the window, select the same audio device, the MixPre 3, but under Advanced, I'm going to choose channel 2. I would like to monitor the audio levels for this channel as well, so I'll choose the peak meters right here. And I'm going to add one more recording block because I want to record this audio channel separately. Title it something where you can tell the channels apart later, and then you can also choose WAV format for channel 2 as well. Now if I hit record on this AudioHiJack session, inputs 1 and 2 will both be recorded simultaneously, but into separate audio files so I can edit them later. And if you have even more microphones in person, you can add as many of these as you need, choosing the specific input and recording to a separate audio file. Now let's say you want to be able to record the audio coming in from your Riverside studio with your remote guests. You can do that in AudioHiJack as well, even in the same session. For that, I'm going to choose the application as my audio source. If I click and drag that block here into AudioHiJack, I'm going to choose the application that's running Riverside. You should be running it in Google Chrome most likely. And so this is going to capture the audio coming in through that web browser. Click the Advanced tab and make sure Include Audio Input is unchecked. You're already recording your physical inputs locally in that separate recording block, plus Riverside is going to be getting that microphone as well, so you don't need to include the audio input on this block. You can leave all these boxes unchecked and it will record the audio from your remote guest. You can choose to monitor the audio levels from that source as well, and we're going to add one more recording block to record the audio coming through Google Chrome. Title it something unique so you can access it later, and for format, we can again choose the uncompressed WAV format. Make sure you choose the same sample rate for each recording block. Do keep in mind, if you have multiple remote guests that you'll be hosting in the Riverside recording studio, all of those remote guests will be in a single audio track here from the AudioHiJack recording. To get those separate audio tracks from your remote guests, you'll download those directly in the Riverside studio. So again, for the individual in-person audio tracks, AudioHiJack will provide those separate files, And to get those individual files from your remote guest, their audio and video tracks, you'll download those from Riverside. Now when I hit record on this AudioHiJack session, you'll see all the channels start recording automatically. Both microphone inputs are getting audio signal, and Chrome from my remote guest is also getting audio. That's why it's helpful to have these peak RMS blocks in the middle of the chain. You'll see all three recording blocks are recording. You'll see the time elapsed and the file size for each file that's being recorded. And then when I'm done recording for this session, I can hit stop on AudioHiJack, and those files will be saved in the folder that I chose earlier. So that's how to use AudioHiJack to record multiple physical inputs there in your studio, as well as the audio coming in from your Riverside online studio, including your remote guests. Now I'll show you a second application called Loopback, where you can pull audio in from your web browser, whether you want to play a YouTube clip or music. But the application Loopback lets you combine audio inputs like a microphone and a web browser, and creates a virtual audio device that you can then select in Riverside. So whether you're talking in your microphone or playing audio from your web browser, your guests on the other side of the online recording studio can hear what you're hearing. This is the Loopback window when you first open the application. I'm going to choose New Virtual Device. A virtual audio device is basically something the computer sees as an audio input that is actually a combination of our physical microphone inputs, audio interfaces, and even applications like a web browser. Let's label this virtual audio device Riverside Input. Here under the Sources tab, I'm going to select the plus button. You'll see I have multiple applications I can include, special sources, and my physical audio devices. I'm going to choose my MixPre 3. Here you'll see I'm getting audio actually from the microphone I'm talking into right now. Now I actually want this channel to go into both the left and right channels of my Loopback audio device. So I'm going to connect my channel 2 input to both the left and right outputs here in my output channels. Now my single microphone will be heard stereo both left and right in whatever application uses this virtual audio device. Now I'm going to add a second application, a web browser, where I'll be playing some videos that I want my remote guests to hear. When I hit the plus button, I'm going to choose a browser. And here you have to be careful. If you're going to be using Riverside for your online recording, the audio from your web browser is going to be filtered through this virtual audio device, meaning that your remote guests are going to hear themselves in an echo. So the best way to get around this is actually use a second web browser or another application to play those audio files or videos. This way the audio that you're playing in the web browser won't get mixed and sent back to your remote guests in the online studio. So I'm actually going to choose Safari for this audio input. Now I actually have a video playing right now in Safari, and so you'll see that audio is also getting piped into my output channels. Now if you wanted to play some music clips, you can also add the music application from your Mac as additional source for your output. Then anything you play in the Apple Music app or Safari web browser will get piped into this virtual audio device, and your remote guests can hear it as well. Now that I have my virtual audio device set up in Loopback, I'm going to go to my Riverside Studio and select this as my audio input. Once I log into my Riverside account and go to a Riverside Studio for recording, then here in the Riverside Studio, when I select my microphone input, from the drop-down you'll actually see Loopback Virtual Audio Device. By selecting that as your input, it means your microphone and any sounds that you play from your web browser or the music application will be heard by your remote guests. Keep in mind they will also be recorded into your individual audio track there in Riverside. For your audio output, make sure to choose whatever physical device you're using, whether that's headphones or your audio interface with headphones attached. And then of course choose your video device as well. Again, we always recommend using headphones when you're recording with Riverside, and then let's enter the studio. As you'll see here in my input and output information, you'll see the Loopback virtual audio device as my input, and the sound that's playing right now is actually coming from my Safari web browser as a YouTube video plays. And so here you can see that that audio is coming in as well as the microphone that I'm using. So my online and remote guests can actually hear everything that I play in the web browser and will hear me speaking in the microphone as well. Now if you do use Riverside to record, there's actually an even easier way to share audio and video files with your online remote guests, and you don't have to use any kind of virtual audio device. Here in the Riverside Studio, you'll see the Media tab. Clicking there, you'll see some built-in sounds that we have in the Media Studio. Here you can actually upload video or audio files. They'll be saved in the Media tab, and then you can play those live during an online recording. I'll choose some stock audio here that I purchased from a website, and you'll see that piece of media is now available for me to play at any time. I can click the three dots and name it. Maybe this is my podcast intro, and hit save. Now whenever I click this piece of media in the media bin, it will start playing automatically. I can switch from previewing this audio myself to switching it to live so everyone hears it, and I can also adjust the volume if it's a little loud. A lot of stock audio comes in pretty loudly. Now let's start a recording and actually use this audio file in the media bin for our intro. I'm going to hit record in the Riverside Studio. You'll get your countdown from 5. Now once we're ready to start, I'm going to click that intro music, and you'll see it's actually playing in the Riverside Studio. I can say, hello, welcome to my podcast, and you'll actually get that even as a separate audio track so you can edit later. Your audio input in the Riverside Studio will be totally clean and isolated so you can edit it later. So that's how to supercharge your recordings. You can use AudioHiJack to record both in-person, multiple microphones, as well as a redundancy of your remote guests, and use Loopback to combine multiple application audios like your music or even a web browser and share it with your remote guests through the Riverside Studio. If you have any questions about what we covered today, drop a comment below the video. Then don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and the bell icon so you don't miss a video. We have lots of content on starting your podcast or even setting up a video podcast, how to automate your podcast workflow, how to record outdoors, and a ton more. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you in the next video.